Okay, let's watch this video. How League of Legends became unkillable by going indie. Months ago, he made it. Let's see.
Carrier can use that. Rumble will be picked up here.
And looking to come in. Here comes your initiation. They're right through.
Why is League of Legends so dominant?
Because it's
This
addicting.
Titan came out almost 15 years ago, and it still has more viewers and players globally than almost any other. But what's odd is that League's creators weren't developers, and the game they made in the beginning was far worse than their competitors. But Riot knew something everyone else didn't, and it started when they found themselves playing Warcraft 3. To this day, Warcraft 3 is considered one of the most beloved games of all time, creating a real-time strategy experience to rival greats like StarCraft and Age of Empires. But Mark Merrill and Brandon Beck weren't booting up Warcraft to play an RTS. They were playing a fan-made mod that changed one of the maps from an RTS game mode into something fresh. A team-based top-down game with just one character and abilities. The goal of the mode was to destroy the other team's ancients, hence the mod being named Dota. Now, Dota wasn't the first MOBA ever created, but this is where the genre's identity was really formed. You had lanes, towers, waves of minions, leveling a champion, farming for gold, and so much more. It's baffling how many of the MOBA staples came from Dota. The game just kept evolving. Different versions and mods of Dota came out, and the community settled on a final version, Dota All-Stars. But just like all other games that began as mods, it was extremely inaccessible. First, you had to buy Warcraft 3 for $60. Then you had to navigate the custom browser to play Dota All-Stars. And because the game mode was exclusively multiplayer, the only way to set up games was through an online forum or searching servers for a full lobby. And after all that work trying to find a game, the load times were beyond hellish. But even with all these issues, players loved Dota, and two college roommates knee-deep in the game set out to unshackle the game from Warcraft 3. Merrill and Beck would take this inaccessible yet popular game and release it as something new. But there was a problem. The two friends weren't game designers. They were both business majors from USC. They had passion for games.
And we were early members of lots of online game communities, whether it was Dragon Realms in Brandon's case, or Ultima Online, EverQuest in my case.
But no experience making them. So they began hiring talent to help them bring their vision to life. A new Dota, which they called Onslaught. The newly found studio, called Riot Games, was established in an old converted machine shop under an interstate overpass. Humble beginnings, to say the least. To help achieve their vision, Merrill and Beck hired 5 permanent team members and some interns, including Steve Ginsu Feek, one of the original designers of Dota All-Stars. Feek, like the founders, was excited about building a MOBA game unconstrained from Blizzard. So with little experience in development, or teamwork for that matter, Riot Games worked for hours to create a project that they could show at the 2007
Holy
Game Developers
fuck, the original cinematic for the game. Damn, dude, what the fuck?
in San Francisco. Some of the team managed full-time studies on top of 40-hour work weeks, scrambling to put together something presentable for the conference. But something sat on the shoulders of Merrill and Beck. Building a new Dota wasn't their only focus. Studying business had given these founders a totally different perspective than the rest of the gaming industry. And Riot's two founders wanted to do something unheard of with their game. They wanted to give it away for free.
How can you make money with such a stupid idea? And how can you not make money with such a brilliant idea?
This wasn't a thing in North America or Europe. At the time, you bought a game at full price, played it, and then bought another one. But in Asia, it was totally different. Most games like MapleStory were released completely free, making money through in-game purchases. This was partly to combat widespread piracy in Asia.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
But it also had some massive implications. Price determines demand for a product. Games with the high price tags have a natural barrier to entry, limiting your player base. But free-to-play games don't have this problem.
You have a lot of
They
demands.
maximize demand by minimizing the price to zero. This was Merrill and Beck's idea. They looked at Dota as a live service instead of a modded product. They knew there were thousands of dedicated Dota fans, but to really move beyond a niche genre, which also had a large learning curve, their game needed to be free-to-play. Planning on making money by monetizing in-game cosmetics.
Whoa,
like
what is
skins.
that?
But there's just one problem. Most of North American publishers were scared of the free-to-play model, even though it was prominent in Asia. It just wasn't a proven business model in America yet, and publishers hated giving content away for free. So Riot, building a new game with an unproven business model, was just too risky, and publishers were out.
I hate it. I'm out.
Every publisher Riot went to was confused by the concept. They would ask, where's the single player? Why is it free to play? What console will it be on? None of them understood the vision or business model. The path forward was obscure and unknown, but the publisher's lack of faith may have been the biggest blessing for Riot. Since Merrill Beck wouldn't compromise on free to play and no publisher would back it, they decided on a different approach. They would publish the game themselves. But to do that, they needed money. Lots of it. So they went to investors. Here they found some people that saw their vision, individuals unshackled by the trends in the industry. For context, the game wasn't good at this point, nor did it have appealing assets or visuals.
I come in, they have nothing. They had a wireframe, kind of. They had a design, and they had a pitch. And they started to go through their pitch, and it was unbelievable.
But investors could see the business model and the gem Riot had created, now renamed to League of Legends Clash of the Fates.
And they understood not only the free-to-play concept, but they understood how to bring an audience to the table to prime the pump of free-to-play.
So Riot secured...
I guess this is the classic. They are ahead of their time, and they took the opportunity. It's a classic.
millions in funding, not because their game was good, but because of the business model. The threat
They were
from
ahead
their
of
doors
everybody
was
else
finally gone. But
with
the
the
challenge
idea.
was far from over. Riot had a tough battle ahead because another team was hard at work developing a competitor. S2 Games also saw the potential of MOBAs and were collaborating to create their very own standalone game called Heroes of Newerth. They had something Riot didn't: experience. Merrill and Beck knew they were in trouble. Heroes of Newerth had more polished art, animations, and VFX. Not to mention, Heroes of Newerth had some of the original people behind Dota, including the OG creator, IceFrog. Merrill and Beck were distraught, and it got even worse when both companies offered a free pre-release around the same time. Players compared Riot's MOBA with S2, and it couldn't be more obvious which looked better. Heroes of Newerth dwarfed League of Legends, immediately pulling in double the numbers.
Well, hang on, you've just...
No, I like it. This is brilliant, but I like this.
Nothing was going Riot's way, and League appeared to be down and out. But then something happened that gave Riot hope. S2 announced that Heroes of Newerth would be full-price game, $30 on release. Half the player base left immediately. Many MOBA fans in Southeast Asia couldn't afford a full-price game. Why keep playing a game if you couldn't buy it? So many moved to Riot's free MOBA. New fans around the world poured in, many from Asia, but also from the West, where players were eager to try this brand new game for free, a rare thing to see in the States. And when League of Legends officially launched as free-to-play, it exploded in popularity.
Let's eat. Oops.
In its first year, the game brought in over $1.3 million. The next year, $17 million. Then $85 million the following. The game was skyrocketing. Merrill and Beck only expected around 20,000 players at best, but they were getting millions. League was very similar to Dota, but it wasn't the game that made it blow up. It was the model, and we can see that with their competition. Although Heroes of Newerth lost half their player base, they still decided to release a full-price title, believing, like the rest of the Western publishers, that free-to-play wouldn't work. This blunder widened the gap even more between these two MOBAs, and after a year of lackluster sales, the studio behind Heroes of Newerth went free-to-play.
Too
By
late
point,
at this
only
point.
500,000 players had purchased the game, while League of Legends was sitting at over 32 million new players and counting.
God damn, bro. What the Jesus.
Which game do you think players stuck with?
Holy.
But even when Heroes of Newerth went free to play, it didn't seem like they truly understood the business model. Many heroes didn't have purchasable skins, not to mention the game had very few cosmetics, and they didn't seem concerned with adding more. Heroes of Newerth copied free-to-play, but they didn't understand the intricacies behind it, which would bring them problems for the rest of the game's lifespan. This goes to show that Riot had something special, and they understood what others didn't. They understood the model. And the free-to-play model allowed them to dominate the MOBA genre, even though their game launched worse in every single way. League was riding high, but dark clouds were on the horizon. Companies saw how well League of Legends was performing, and tons more MOBAs began popping up. All of them copying
Smite?
Riot's business model.
Yeah.
Valve had bought the rights to Dota and released Dota 2 in 2012, and in 2010, Blizzard announced their own MOBA called Heroes of the Storm, which would release 5 years later. There were plenty more, all adopting the same free-to-play model. But how do you survive against behemoths like Valve and Blizzard? The answer? Competition. Riot meticulously crafted the perfect competitive experience that kept players hooked. In mid-2010, Riot added Ranked, a competitive game mode where players could rise through the ranks between bronze and platinum. One of the first of its kind, especially in the MOBA genre. Riot had one goal: elevate the perception of the competitive experience. While there was a large casual audience for League, Riot was trying to capture people who
Damn,
had
look a
heaps of
faker.
time to invest in the game. The Sweats. These were the players who would play League for hours, climbing the ladder and purchasing in-game cosmetics.
Bro, you have thousands of games per season on this account. You don't go anywhere.
Riot had the most addictive gameplay loop, fueled by players who had that competitive urge. Thousands of hours were sunk into League, learning champions, item builds, and niche interactions, making the cost of switching to another MOBA difficult.
Off me, stream sniper!
As long as League continued to scratch that competitive itch, players weren't going anywhere. So Riot kept players on the hook, consistently investing into a competitive side of the game. Every ranked season brought heroes and overhauls to game modes, using data to measure how players interacted with champions in the game.
And these are not just the old players trying out to see if they like the new one. These are players like myself.
Analyzing what was working and what didn't. They were eagerly listening to their audience, more so than any other developer. All of these changes and new content kept these dedicated fans around. They weren't always on the money.
Fix the game!
What mattered was the commitment, which far surpassed any other developer of a competitive game at the time. Which brings us back to Riot's competition. S2 was struggling to keep Heroes of New Earth alive. The game had a much steeper learning curve, and very few heroes offered an easy experience for new players. Whereas in League, you have a collection of champions that offer an easy way to get into the game, like Annie, Master Yi, Garen, many more. Heroes of New Earth was nearly impossible to get into, even when it was free to play. And S2 wasn't the best at making it easier. Instead of making the game more appealing, the studio released another MOBA in 2015 called Strife. So already their attention was spread thin. But what was worse was their dedication to maintaining a competitive environment. There was little done about toxic players, bugs, and broken heroes. Not to mention the UI and client remained untouched for years. Riot, however, with League as their only game, consistently improved the experience. But one of the biggest differences
That was probably one of the best things that happened to Riot. Only keep one game for more than 10 years. That's probably the best thing. And when they got enough, like, employees, enough people working on the company, they started releasing more games. And Valorant now is like the biggest competitive shooters in the market. So they are doing really fucking well.
S2's lack of support for the competitive scene, something Riot Games was more than willing to provide: esports.
Yep.
And they kicked everything off with DreamHack World Championship 2011, when Fnatic would take home the winning prize of $50,000, an unbelievable amount for the time. This would later become Worlds, the biggest annual esports event in the world.
Wow.
Riot was one of the first to invest into the esports scene: big events, high production values, and massive prize pools, giving players an example to look to, which raised that competitive ceiling even further.
The inhibitor respawn.
League of Legends esports became a
wow.
Every finals pulled in millions of viewers, thanks to the rise of digital platforms like Twitch and YouTube. Seeing all of this as a Heroes of New Earth player, why would you stick around? And many didn't. League lent itself perfectly to the competitive scene, including streamers and content creators who would show off their incredible skill or something else entirely.
Come on! Are you kidding?
You could find dedicated players for your favorite champions, and most of the time, you had a few choices. The more popular the game became online, the more people wanted to play it with friends, stream it, or watch it. Players were sharing their favorite highlights, either dunking on their friends or showing off some incredible moments in the ranked ladder. League became its own marketing engine, but on the other side of the ring, their old competitor fizzled out.
What a
Sadly,
fucking
Heroes of New Earth
monster
closed their
this
doors
fucking game is, huh?
2022.
Jesus
All
Christ.
this begs the question: how is League of Legends still a juggernaut today?
I mean, you just said it.
Game began doing what Riot is doing, pushing the pro scene, attracting sponsors, and hosting huge events. While the action of these companies looks similar to League, Riot's goals are totally different. Today, League of Legends is still at the top of Twitch. And while other
Yep,
esports scenes
always
like
on the
Overwatch
top
are
3.
dying, Riot still has the biggest esport event in the world. So what is Riot doing differently? The answer? Lost leadership. This is where a company strategically loses money in one area in order to gain more profit in another. For example, a grocery store might sell milk at a loss, but make profit on all the other things you buy while you are there. It's common in retail, but can apply to all kinds of businesses, including video games. League esports scene is not profitable. In fact, it never has been. These events they put on do something important. They elevate the competitiveness around League of Legends, which compels players to buy more cosmetics. That's why League esports.
I mean, they even have the worst skins that they release. Right now, people are talking a lot about the Faker skin. If it's gonna be like an Ari skin or something different. Like, people are talking about that, you know, like a skin, something that they have to pay for, something that they have to spend money for. They are talking like, oh, what is it gonna be? Which skin? Which champion? Oh, I can't wait. People are waiting to buy a skin. That is why it's so good, and it's also like a really big advertisement for the game. If you log in on Twitch or something like that, and you see League of Legends with 1 million viewers, you're gonna be like, whoa, what's going on? That's gonna get your attention. So, and if you play the game before and you quit, you might watch the finals and say, damn, I kinda wanna play again. And you might install the game one more time, you get addicted, and you buy skins. So they are really fucking smart with how they managed this game. And even Valorant, to be honest, they are really good at doing this.
To be huge.
Really,
while other
really
scenes
would.
like the Overwatch League are shutting down. Blizzard was trying to grow profits in esports, while Riot was trying to grow profits in League of Legends. But it doesn't end there. Riot has applied this strategy all over the place, using lost leadership to generate buzz and raise brand awareness. Since 2014, Riot has worked with popular artists to create viral songs for Worlds each year. In 2014, they worked with Imagine Dragons. The next year, Nikki Taylor, then Zed, and many more. These songs garner hundreds of millions of streams, and occasionally billions. Riot has applied these techniques
Wow,
to
1.3
all
billion?
aspects of League, from competitive events in Worlds to world building and characters with Arcane on Netflix. They even use these techniques to promote in-game characters who were falling behind in popularity. None of these viral techniques need to be profitable. Instead, they all help grow the brand.
Hey, let's make a K-pop group. So we took 4 champions, we put them in a K-pop group, we gave them new looks, new skins in our game, and a lot of players who don't typically play Akali would go and flock to this.
Further encouraging people to try
They're
out the game.
so fucking smart. God damn. Like, they go with the analytics. Like, it's insane. It's insane. It's like analytics for the until the end. You know what I mean? They decided to use Akali because she was a low, like, not a popular character, and now it's probably one of the most popular and broken characters in the game, and she literally is one of the main faces of their K-pop scene. It is crazy. It's fucking insane how these motherfuckers do this shit. I have no words. Like, wow.
Giving existing players all the more reason to keep playing. Additionally, these marketing ventures have brought in new generations of League players. People are exposed to all these viral songs or shows and are intrigued to try playing the game. People who never tried League of Legends, pick it up. These were crazy business moves, but they paid off. Riot is focused on keeping the League brand fresh and appealing. And the best part, the strategy isn't a fluke. Riot has done the same thing with their new IP Valorant. Viral songs, high-budget animations, and huge esports events. Valorant isn't as globally popular as League, yet.
But it's growing.
It's providing the same brand perception, and it allows the game to stay fresh and appealing, and has even provided some opportunities for cross-promotion, with Arcane cosmetics being found in both League and Valorant. Riot Games are possibly the best marketers in the gaming industry. They know what keeps players coming back, and they know how to keep people talking about the game. All
Oh
of
yeah.
this shows that
Oh
it's
yeah.
not about the game itself. It's about the model and the brand you're building around the game. This is why League of Legends will never die. Do you know what else will never die? Super Auto Pets. Don't let the title deceive you. This is one fun competitive game. In Super Auto Pets, you build a team of cute pets with unique
That's a nice
abilities.
way to add
Battle
the
against other players, and
yeah
everything is at your own pace in this chill
at the
free-to-play
end.
auto battler. You can pick up a copy of Super Auto Pets on Steam and mobile stores. Go check it out and support the indie community. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, there is a reason why they also do the cinematics at the beginning of every season. Like the cinematic is coming in 4 days with the release of the new season, competitive season. That is gonna have people talking about the game a lot on Twitter, social media, everywhere. Streamers and YouTubers reacting to it, talking, having the champions from the game in the cinematic, like oh my god, Aatrox or I don't know who, Pantheon was on the call, I'm pretty sure. Orn, Sejuani or something like that. People love that. People love that. It keeps the game fresh. It does. It actually does. But yeah, the way they monetize this game is insane. They're really, really smart with this shit. For real. For real, for real. Okay.